I'm sure you were all really hyped up about the title of this session, and it's really connected to the content. So I'm really proud to have Gang and Kristina come flying over from Sweden. So yeah, give it a warm applause for Gang and Kristina from Electrolux, and give it away. Take it away.
Wow. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, hi everyone. So, hope you all had a very nice lunch today with chicken. That's what we are also talking about today. And just before we start our presentation, I have a quick question for all of you. So, if you have any smart appliance at your home, please raise your hands. Yeah, okay. I think most of you have, but just a quick follow-up question, since you are all in the FinOps domain and care about cost. You can raise your hand if you have ever thought about the cost, cloud cost for the appliance company when you are using the smart appliance. For example, when you are cleaning the room with your smart vacuum cleaner, or maybe cooking your dish with your smart oven. Have you ever thought about that? Okay, very few. That's actually what we expected, because this is what we care, and this is what we are going to talk today. We will figure out how we are going to estimate and calculate the unit cost of when our consumers is roasting their chicken in the oven.
Okay, here we go. And my name is Kristina. I'm SRE Product Manager. And a part of enjoying working with infrastructure and FinOps initiatives, I'm also a mother of a 4-year-old daughter. So every time after work, when I picked her up from the kindergarten, I also need to cook her dinner. And of course, I use Electrolux smart appliances for this.
Yeah, and my name's Gon. As you can see, this is me sitting in front of our dashboard. So I'm the SAE manager and also responsible for platform. So from tech perspective, to support our consumers to keep using their appliance with very good user experience, we adopt a multi-cloud from backend.
So I use connectivity, and instead of really looking into the oven, I prefer to spend quality time with my daughter, so I use the app, and then I will receive a push notification when the food is ready. And then we can go and enjoy the dinner.
And while our consumers are enjoying their dinner, my job is to ensure that our cloud cost wouldn't go as crazy, so it should be under our control.
Exactly. And Gank and I, we both work for a digital experience organization at Electrolux. And here is the place where connectivity started and being developed. By smart appliances or connected appliances, we mean appliances that has a subset that connect them to our connectivity cloud, and our consumers can use and manage them via mobile phone. So to ensure that this magic is happening, we have end-to-end coverage of the full process, IoT, meaning Internet of Things. And we have firmware team that working with hardware. We have backend engineers, we have mobile engineers, designers, and our infrastructure team, of course. We run our services from different regions, so we have multi-regional setup, and we have launched in over 60 countries. We support over 20 languages, so Electrolux is really a global company. And these are how we define our appliances. Taste for the kitchen, and everything is connected to the food, and the care and well-being appliances for washing and taking care of your clothes and of your house or your apartment.
And as the infrastructure team, one thing that we need to ensure is, as you know today, when you buy your appliance from the market, normally it's like a one-time payment, right? You see the price, you pay for it, and you keep using it for a couple of years. And for smart appliance, this is the thing that we need to think of, because consumers, they paid, but they will keep using the smart appliance for several years. It means while the time goes by, probably the total cloud cost will be even higher than what we sold it before.
Exactly. So let me give you one example. As every consumer right now, our consumers demanding to have AI features in their smart oven. So just to react to the demand, we introduced the AI taste assistant. So what you can do is that you can just paste any link to your mobile app, and then AI taste assistant will set your oven into the right mode, right temperature, and set up a timer exactly by the recipe, so you do not need to adjust it to the recipe on your own. Everything is done for you. So these kind of digital products can increase the amount of money you need to pay for the cloud, right?
Yeah, that's actually what we noticed after this AI feature got launched to our consumers, because for support this AI training, behind that is GPU. It's not the normal CPU that we used before for our service. So we see that there's a little bit cost increase with this GPU usage. And this is something that we really make sure that it wouldn't go unexpected.
So we are here today to share with you our own recipe, how to take costs under control, and also, in the meantime, how to roast the chicken. And the first step is, of course, to preheat the oven, meaning that we need to access the current usage. We need to really understand how much do we spend. And that's a bit of a sad story about me, because I joined infrastructure team during the migration. And I was previously working in just IoT application layer, so I never thought about infrastructure and cloud vendors and how it's all connected, that we need to really look at the billing. So I was zero in FinOps, if you can say so. So yeah, and migration was happening, and I've been requested to provide reports to our management, because they need to understand, okay, we are migrating, how much do we spend in this case, for this cloud vendor, and then for another cloud vendor, and then I did it month to month, and it was honestly quite exhausting using these Excels and stuff. So I complained to Gunk because I really didn't like it. Okay, I hear that someone else doesn't like it. Okay, good.
So yeah, so when we did this practice in the past, we also noticed that there are two kinds of roles that would like to see the cloud cost. One, obviously, is from management, because they want to understand, okay, now we are migrating from, for example, from one cloud to another cloud, where it increased cost or decreased cost. And if it's increased, what is driving this increase and why this happens? So they want to know the trend, and also they want to understand, can we optimize? And then the other kind of role is from our product team, our developers. So some developers, they're also wondering, okay, now my service got moved from, for example, from Google to AWS or from IBM to AWS. Does it cost the same money as before? And now also I launched a new feature into AWS. How much does that cost? So they are wondering about this. But of course, there are a certain group of people, developers, they say, okay, my job is to focus on developing features. So cloud cost is something that your infrastructure team should take care of. Probably that's the same for you in your companies.
Okay, for developers, yes, this is a way. For product management, for me, for example, my boss shared with me his vision, his dream, how it should look like, that we should get much more appliances connected, because people buy appliances and then it's connected appliances and they are going to use them. And while we have more appliances connected, the cloud costs are actually remaining stable. So then I draw this graph. So this is the total amount of appliances, it's how it should be. And this features like this AI feature, for example, so we introduce more and more digital products because we are going to provide meaningful digital experience for our consumers. While cloud costs are pretty much the same per appliance, so that's how the dream looks like. And then I really tired of using this Excel file, so I was looking for a solution. And we have this thing in Sweden, because we both work in the headquarters of Electrolux in Sweden. in Sweden, it's very common that people go for 1 month for vacation. It calls midsummer. So everyone just go, and Gank also flew for vacation. So I stayed with one of our engineers, and we started to explore the market. So what market could offer us, like if there is any solution that can address those requirements. And I spent this 1 month for doing marketing research. So I went to Gartner page, I read the reviews for different cost management solutions, and then I contacted like 12 vendors, and they provide us demos, and then we even took 7 trials with one of my teammates. So it was pretty intense month for us. So it was 2 years ago, and what I've noticed at that moment that the majority of cost vendors, they support these main cloud providers. And what we use as well at our organization, because our organization is like a startup at Electrolux, so we use different tools, and we're really very dynamic in terms of what we use. So I would say 2 years ago you'd be lucky if like at least 5 of the tools will be covered by cost management solutions, and the rest it should be like handled somehow elsewhere, like or in another Excel file or something like this. So yeah, that was my research, I'd say.
Yeah. So when I came back from my vacation, I was looking at the results with the team. So it seems like, first of all, there's no vendor that can meet our requirement. And speaking of a requirement, then we thought again, okay, what exactly are our requirements? Then what we thought is, okay, at about 2 years ago, our requirement is not so complicated. It's basically 2 things. The first one is we would like to have a single view of all the cloud providers that we use. Doesn't matter which cloud provider. We want to see all of them together. So that is from the cost overview aggregation. And then the second part is we would like to see the breakdown to a certain level, not probably to the SKU level, but at least to a certain level, so we can see the breakdown. And then even for long tech people, they were able to analyze, okay, where do we spend the money, and what is the trend? And then looking at the investigation, then we realized probably we will have 2 options if we want to choose. Option 1 would be we select a cost vendor from the market, and then of course the major cloud provider probably will be well covered by them. But what about those small vendors that we use? Some of them, they provide custom costs, so we can use that as a workaround to manually upload this cost every month. But then what that means is we are probably going back to the Excel way, but not Microsoft Excel, but just another Excel. And then regarding the cost breakdown, then we have a little bit different thoughts, because we realize all the cloud providers, they actually provide this natively from their billing system. And we can see that the problem is we don't want to go to each system and see the details. So that is aggregation can address that. But then on the other hand, we paid for those cloud providers already, right? So why should we pay again to just see the breakdown? So since we are the infrastructure team, and we are also like we have the tech skills, so we look into the cloud providers that we use, and realize that 90% of them, they provide actually billing APIs. And what that means is we can use our own coding skills to build our own solution, and then utilize those APIs to aggregate the cost and probably provide certain level of breakdown. So that was the first the answer that we thought, okay, let's build something on our own and see how that works.
Speaking of building of something on our own, it wasn't our first time when we built something. So we actually in a way responsible for developers' experience. So we built a lot of developer tools and automation, so it's like really not the first time. And we have this platform, we call it internal developer platform, as many companies already have, I believe. But the heaviest plugin that we built was to provide developers the opportunity to provision and manage infrastructure on their own without our support, meaning developer go to UI, pick database or any cloud resource that he needs or she needs, and then it gets provisioned, and no infrastructure knowledge is needed. Can you explain how it works in a bit of technical terms?
Yeah, so I can dig a bit more about the technical part. So some of you already probably heard of Backstage. It's an open source project by Spotify, also based in Stockholm. So when they launched this open source project, we quickly looked into it and decided to try it out. And then we built the plugin called the IDP, Internal Developer Portal, based on Backstage, like 2 years ago. And we not only built the plugin, but we also provide the infrastructure as code modules for every cloud resource that we use in our organization. So for our developers, what they do today is they go to the IDP plugin in Backstage, and then they choose, this is my cloud resource I want to provision or manage. And then it's pre-configured already, so they only need to choose very minimum configurations, for example, what kind of instance type you want. And after that, then our infrastructure code will be running, and then the cloud resource will be provisioned. So that is what they use every day. And we realized that, okay, since our developers already use this every day, we can also build a plugin, and then that means they are able to see not only their infrastructure resources, but meanwhile they can also see the cost aside with their infrastructure. And this is the prototyping that we built internally about 2 years ago. So with this prototyping, we are able to see the cloud cost from the major. We started also from the major cloud providers. We can see that, and developers can see that, and then they can see the trend as well and a certain level of breakdown. But not only about this, and then what we did further is, since we provide this IDP, for example, here you can see this is a EKS Kubernetes cluster in AWS. And then we offer different functions, right? For example, overview, metrics, metadata, and the log auditing. And then now, because of this new plugin, now we are able to add this cost tab. So that means for developers, they don't even need to go to this new plugin, InfraWallet, to check costs. Because we understand they only care about their own cost. So they can select, this is my resource, and go to cost tab, and then they were able to see the cost. Here is showing the last 6 months for this EKS cluster. So they can see the trend is going up and down, and then they can analyze what happened, and then also it shows some certain resources that is associated together with this EKS cluster. So they don't have to go anywhere to check cost. Instead, they can check the cost together with the infrastructure.
Yes, exactly. So it's like a part of the developer ecosystem where they are already developer native, and it's not something where they need to look into separately. A part of it, what we provided for our organization is those custom costs that Gank mentioned. So the 10% of solutions that do not have API, like small vendors, not the small vendors, like take Atlassian as an example. Atlassian do not have built-in API. So then we took this feature, like a custom cost, in this way that if it's annual contract, then you can predefine that it's going to be paid annually. And if it's still manual cost input, then you need to or to do it monthly, or you can kind of work with a semi-automated way when you just ask the system just to pre-filled for the next month. So at least every cost is in one place, and even if it's like those small vendors, it's also there. So after we got this overview and all the costs under the same umbrella, then we have a total cloud cost. Then we need also to have total number of connected appliances, which is business metrics. And here, the formula of how we calculate the unit cost first to understand how much it costs to have all ovens connected in one region, because it's different from region to region. And this formula, like we got from the negotiation from our IoT team, and our IoT cloud architect, he explained it in this way. So there is a running cost for your oven, meaning traffic that oven sends, like event-based information, because oven might send a lot of events. Vacuum cleaner might send less events. So it will be, again, different from appliance to appliance. And then there are like a storage cost. If we take the car as an example, then it will be like event-based cost when you pay by the kilometers for the fuel, and storage cost is something like insurance. You need to pay it once, doesn't matter how much you're going to drive. And then the correlation and the ratio between both costs are going to be different, because if you, for example, are going to increase traffic from the appliance lot, then the storage also needs to be scaled up a bit. So then we calculate the cost for all the ovens in the region, and then, then we take the total cost of having them connected, and then we define them to the amount of ovens that we have in the region, and that's how we know how much it costs to have one oven connected. Okay, let me see. Yes, this what we call user-defined formulas. So that's another feature for InfraWallet, and I did a snapshot so you would know that that's part also automated. Then what can you do as a product manager when you look at the cost? So this snapshot I took for like this presentation while I was preparing for it in October. So there was a case in July when I just went and looked for the costs of IoT AWS service. And then I saw that it doubled, while total amount of connected appliances isn't doubled really, which is weird. And I asked our IoT team, is it meant to be like that? So the answer I got from the discussion is that it's not, of course, obviously it shouldn't be like this. It was a bug in the backend service that doubled the filter state from air conditioners, and air conditioners get used heavily in July in certain regions. So there was this cost spike, and this is something that is visual, and I can act on it. I can try to address this only because I can basically see it. So the bug was resolved, and it didn't affect our consumers anyhow, but it was affecting the cost, though. So then the time to talk about optimization and what can be done if you are not a product manager who just looking at the cost, but you have also technical skills.
Yeah, so we will start with still a bit what we did before about right sizing. So when we migrate from our previous cloud providers to AWS, one thing that we notice is the AWS cost goes up very quickly, that we actually don't fully understand the reason and what is driving this cost change. And then product team, they are also wondering, okay, since Kristina mentioned now with those support, they are able to somehow figure out the unit cost of per oven or per appliance. But our product teams, they are also curious about unit cost, about their service and features. So to give this answer, and then we also realized that the product team, they are actually a bit occupied with the features and different development work. So we started with our own team only. So since we are the infrastructure team, we started to look into our top spending in AWS, and then one of the top spending is actually Redis instance. So because most of services are using caching for better performance, and then we have a lot of Redis instances by different products. And when we look into the metrics of Redis, we realize, okay, a lot of them are usually at a large or extra large size, but some of them are actually really underutilized. For example, we noticed that for some cluster, X large cluster, they only have several megabytes of data inside. So then we reach out to the product team, ask them, okay, what drives your decision to select the X large, not a small instance or medium instance? And then they said, okay, we thought it might be needed in the future when business grow. Of course, this is not a good way because we understand the infrastructure can always be scaled up and down and as needed. So we, after reviewing all the instances, we reach out to the product team and then we tell them, okay, we see that you have an improper size of the Redis instance. We are going to scale down your X large to a small size. And the developers, they acknowledge this and then we make this change. And then from that change, we can see the cost reduction about 70% of the total cost of Redis. So that was the first one. And then after that, we continued looking into the second top spending, that is EC2 compute. Since all our services are running as a microservice in Kubernetes, we use a lot of EC2 instances. And this is something that we don't actually require product team to get involved because we look into how we manage this auto-scaling. So at the beginning, our auto-scaling is very simple mechanism. When we have more workload, we just replicate the same node instance type, and then that's it. And then, of course, it works, but it's not optimized. So we switched to the new mechanism that now auto-scaling is based on workload. So if we have a big workload, then we will choose auto-scale a large instance. But when the workload changes to not so big, then we will auto-scale down to a smaller instance. So with this new auto-scaling mechanism, and it doesn't require any change for our products, and then we also see a cost reduction of around probably 40–45%. So that was very good from the first attempt of optimizing our cost.
Yeah, it can sound like a success, but is it really? Because our team was involved in this cost optimization, of course, on the infrastructure level, only for a month. And then we site reliability team. We are responsible for reliability, performance, and other things. So like the cost optimization, of course, is part of it, but we cannot be focused only on that. And it's not really scalable. And is it the really right Redis size that Gang just mentioned? Because developers, they know their application much better. They know their use case much better than us. And probably if that would be them who do this, it would be much better. So yeah, I share this concern with Gang.
Yeah, so we realize this is not the right way to go. It's a good start, but what we need is actually to bring this knowledge to our product teams so they are able to analyze their own cost and optimize their own cost. So then we realize what we need is actually we need to implement this cost control to product teams. And then to do this, one day I talked to Kristina. I had an idea that we probably should launch our own cost optimization program. And then the purpose is to bring this cost values to our product teams. And she seems very happy with my idea.
Of course, I was happy because then it's not our team who's doing it all alone. So cost optimization program, just to share with you how we've done this. It was actually a 3 months program, but I just want to do it like step by step how we've done it. Like developers, they really have a lot of things to do about writing the code, which they love to do. Some people are trying to put on them like a hat of the Scrum Master, you also can do this and you can do that. And then here we are also saying them that they need to look at the costs. So we really needed to promote this program for them. And I promised swag, I promised like the knowledge and better skills to do their job like more cost-effective, and I would say the developers, and like 100% of developers, they are curious people. They want they're willing to learn. So it wasn't really hard to promote. And the next thing we've done, it was the 1st of November. We did 1st of November 2023, we did this kickoff session, and it was 2 parts. One part of the session was a like 1-day workshop from AWS. They provided us like the information about since we are migrating to AWS, they provided us more information about how the cost can be different from one to another. And then Gank did his own workshop, let's say, about the Redis thread sizing and Kubernetes auto-scaling, just to give an example how it can be done. So then they did a change. That was the first iteration. And for some vendors, we can see the result only in the end of the month. So we checked if there was any impact out of their change. Then Gank hosted this session and kind of suggested where to look into. So then they did a second change, and then we had the second review, and again in January. So basically, the 3 months cost optimization program ended in February when we received the last build, and then we calculated the total cost out of this program, and then we wrapped it up.
Yeah, and here comes the result. So as we only talk about infrastructure optimization to our product teams, and then it seems like they want to do even more than infrastructure. So here, as you can see, in total, we saved around 32K per month. And then it's not only about the infrastructure, but database storage or something. And they also looked into even our monitoring system, how to optimize the cost for our observability part, and also how to optimize the CI/CD pipeline. So and in the end, that was a big success. And then we also printed out their savings to this T-shirt and sent this out to our winner teams, and so they can show off this to other people.
Yeah, the main thought was they can show it to their line manager and negotiate the salary increase, because it's written that I saved some money for this company. But I don't know how it went. So we didn't want it to be like one-time thing. We really wanted to have it on the regular basis. So when the cost optimization program was over, we decided to look into continuous monitoring.
Yeah, given that we have already the tools in place, so our product teams, they can see the cost aggregation, they can also see the breakdown, and we think that they should be able to manage their own cost on their own, but looks like not.
Yes, so I asked for a meeting, and I said, let's talk about the budget and money talk. So how much does your team spend? And this was not very successful meeting, because they feared to name the number, just to say it aloud, how much they spend. So they circled back with another requirement. And they said, we want to see only those costs that belongs to us, and we are responsible only for them. So you need to provide something else. What we've done for our InfraWallet is that it doesn't matter what cloud provider our developers use. They can tag their resources, and then we will just accumulate those tags in InfraWallet, and then they can filter this information. So instead of being from top to bottom, they organically understood their spendings, and they understood that, yes, okay, those spendings belong to me only, because that's how I tagged it. And yeah, that's probably my budget. So then we got the budget number.
Yeah, so once the team is able to set up a budget, so next is we want to make sure that this is continuous monitored for the team. And also we don't want the product team to look at their dashboard every day, because that doesn't make sense. So what we thought is, okay, let's introduce this alerting feature. So when you can set the budget for your team and for your resource, and once you are approaching to the budget, then InfraWallet, of course, will continuously monitor the budget spending, and you will get alert when you are overspending.
Yeah, that's what monitoring is. And we didn't really want it to leave it as it is, so we want to secure this result and reinforce learnings that developers get, so it will be something very natural, what they do, day after day. And then if we say about the unit economy, that's the snapshot I took from InfraWallet in October again, when I was preparing to this presentation. And these business metrics are connected appliances that going up, and the costs that you can see, they are remaining stable, but this is a collective effort of many initiatives, like our team, product teams, re-architecturing, things that like should be re-architectured, and the migration. So yeah, I would say that now the results are stable, but we still need to keep costs under control and work together with our developers.
Yeah, so to summarize our journey, this is what we learned. The first very important thing is probably you practice every day in your domain is cost allocation. And the most straightforward way that we started is we want to isolate the resources. So what that means is, for example, let's take AWS as an example. We always use different AWS accounts for different projects, different teams, or different environments. So in this case, if you are talking about your cost, then you can simply pick, oh, this is my account, so this cost will be my cost. So this works well for, I mean, majority of the use case, but we also have shared infrastructure because sometimes it's not only for, it's not product related, it might be supporting services. So for shared infrastructure, we adopted tagging, as Kristina mentioned before. And then sometimes we realize even tagging cannot solve the problem because it's a bit complicated. So it's even, for example, the database is shared or maybe the networking traffic. So what we tried is we tried to implement our own custom metrics. So with those custom metrics, we're able to estimate the cost splitting. But there are certain scenarios that cannot be addressed by a really good technical way, and then we have to go back to the human way between product teams. Okay, now this is the cost that we cannot allocate, so please discuss on your own and then try to split the cost on your own.
Yeah, okay. In a human way, we split the cost for the car we rent. For example, we go for the traveling with our friends, and we need to pay for the car renting itself and for the fuel. So then those costs can be shared fairly among the side of the people who are in the car.
Yeah, as you can see, this is the image. Of course, it's generated by AI. Because,
you don't like this image, I know.
Yeah. Okay, and the second part that we learned is actually, I think most of you probably you are familiar with, is the vendor pricing model. We understand it's very important, but it's too complicated, I would say, for our product team to learn, because they have to spend a lot of time to learn, okay, today this is the cost model for, let's say, Kubernetes in AWS. Tomorrow it will be RDS, and then after that it will be Kafka. I mean, they couldn't spend that time to really learn about this. But this is actually very important because we realized that when they design their architecture, they need to understand how the vendor, the provider will charge for their services. So for example, for data transfer, we understand if you use same zone, different zone, or the same region, different region, the charge will be different. So when product team design their architecture, they probably should also think, where should I put my service? Does it matter if I put that into 3 zones or same zone or different regions? And it does matter. And we're happy to see that now Focus is come out, and then Focus provides this unified pricing model, and then this makes us life much easier because in the future we see that the majority of the cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and Google, they already started to producing this Focus reporting. So in the future, I hope we can just use Focus and to analyze all the cloud costs from different providers.
And another thing we are grateful for is the FinOps Foundation framework. So that's how we use it, and I marked as a green those initiatives that we already understand how to do, and we are pretty confident in what we are doing right now, like unit economics or like, I don't know, everything else. But there are certain things we need to look into, and these are like cost estimation and cloud sustainability is another thing that we just conducted a small POC for. So we basically moved one non-consumer facing product from one region to another region, to Sweden. And what we've noticed, it's really impacting emissions, and the data centers that we have in Sweden probably more innovative. So the emissions like dropped significantly, and then we can see that there is some potential for us to work on. So this is just one example. But yes, chicken is ready. Saying that, I want to just circle back to the beginning, what we started to talk about. We have the number of how much we pay for have oven or robot vacuum cleaner or the fridge or air conditioner connected. So we understand that. With the help of our developers, we can understand how much it costs for us to have a certain features. And this all, like again, collective effort of many in our organization who join us in this FinOps journey. So it's not something that's done by our team only. And the next thing I want to say is that we do open source at how old is Electrolux?
This year it's about 105 years.
Okay, 105 years. We celebrated this year. And it's like 1 century company, and our team is doing open source. Theirs is like not tech company, it's traditional manufacturing company doing appliances. So yeah, I think it's very, very great that our company is open for this.
And speaking of open source, it's actually a fun story because you know we are a traditional appliance company. We are not like a high-tech tech companies. So we didn't have this organization manage this open source thing. And we have to go through certain kind of approvals and also figure out who is responsible for this. And finally, we are able to open source our project.
Yes, so we have 2 FinOps related projects. One is a cost exporters. So if you use Prometheus metrics, then you can go and see the list of Prometheus exporters. And then in the FinOps sections, you will see Electrolux cost exporters. And then another one is InfraWallet that we mentioned during this conversation. Most of the features we use internally, we open source. So if you started as a FinOps practitioner and you're in the beginning of your journey, you can set up, because it's like free solution for you to use. And if you're already an expert and you feel a bit lonely because your developers are not joining you in FinOps, then you can give them something what is developer native because it's a backstage plugin, and they can join you and support you in your FinOps initiatives.
Yeah,
so,
there was actually one thing I want to mention.
We were at the conference last week.
Last week we were attending a conference in Stockholm, some DevOps conference. And then we were listening to a talk given by IKEA, also from Sweden. And they are describing their FinOps journey. And then while we were listening, I noticed the guy sitting in front of me and using his own laptop and doing something. And I noticed that, oh, that UI looks very familiar. And then I approached to that guy afterwards and I asked, are you setting up InfraWallet there? And then he said, yes, we found this plugin just yesterday, maybe before that conference. And then they were very happy with what they tried. So what I want to say is that after we start this open source journey, then something unexpected really happened. And we are very happy to see we have contributions from different regions, different continents already, and then we are very happy to see the feedback as well.
I think these presentations happened because we do open source, to be honest. Yes. Okay, and the last thing to say is that this is our LinkedIn, so if you want to talk about FinOps, open source, DevOps, infrastructure, we are happy to connect with you. Yes.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you very much for attending our presentation.
Hey everyone, producer Andrew here. I hope you enjoy this video as much as I enjoy sharing all of these amazing FinOps stories, best practices, and expertise. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and leave comments and questions for our speakers. Check out more FinOps X content on our YouTube channel. We appreciate the support.